Etc. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. So today we are doing a movie review of Ainbo. Spelled Ainbo, but it's usually pronounced Ambo. So if you haven't seen the movie Ambo yet, please stay tuned. Don't forget, I am Sandra Bellamy, author of Asexual Perspectives, out on Amazon, in case you didn't already know. And talking about Amazon, that's the theme of our film for today. Amazon rainforest, Amazon out in the jungle. So basically, yes. So Ambo is a young girl who's 13 years old. And she's part of this Amazon tribe, like Amazon out in the jungle. And basically, our homeland is going to be destroyed and the fish are dying. And she's only 13 years old. But basically, what happens is she is sent on a journey to save the forest, the rainforest where she lives, right? So to give you an idea, it says the plot: a girl was born and grew up in the deepest jungle of the Amazon. Her name is Ainbo, who is 13 years old in an enchanted civilization that rests on the back of the most powerful mother spirit in the Amazon, which is a turtle. And so basically what happens is she is basically young, adventurous, and she takes on the challenge of being able to save the Amazon jungle where her and her people live, right? And she's got this best friend as well there. But what happens is she gets these two spirit guides come to help her, and they're so funny. One's a tapir and the other's an armadillo. And these two characters are absolutely hilarious. So if you like an animated movie that's fun, adventurous, and got funny characters in it, this is definitely the film for you. As I'm asexual and sexual orientation, I lack sexual attraction. Me personally, I'm sex repulsed and I'm naked repulsed. So I'm not into any of those things for myself. And so therefore I try and find movies with no sex in them and no nakedness. And this doesn't have anything like that in it. It is a kids movie, but obviously adults can watch it as well. And so, yeah, so she's basically her family are just basically getting older and older now and can't do anything to help save the Amazon where she lives, Amazon jungle. So she is basically going to go on a quest to help save whatever's happening and destroying her Amazon family's jungle. And Zumi is a girl and like a best friend to her, and her mother raised Ainbo as her own, and so Zumi and Ainbo are like best friends. And there's this, and what happens is this spirit guide, this evil spirit guide, well, it's not even a guide, this evil spirit, it's like a snake, comes in and kills Ainbo and Zumi's mother, basically. Well, like a mother to them. And so that is really, really upsetting. I think it's Zumi's real mum and Ainbo's like kind of foster mum, but I didn't quite know if that was the case. But anyway, so yes, so what happens is there's this guard who stands by the mother that was killed by this like evil spirit, if you like, this snake, and the guard thinks it's Ainbo that's killed basically Zumi's mum, her like foster mum, if you like. And so it's just horrible. And so Ainbo has to go off on her own. She goes with the two spirit guides and they're led off into the jungle because she can't convince her bestest friend Zumi that she's innocent. She hasn't totally convinced her of that, but Zumi goes after the Ainbo, and while Ainbo is trying to go in the jungle to find out what is killing the fish, what is destroying that Amazon jungle. And she comes across these diggers, and they are literally digging up the place looking for gold. but she doesn't understand totally what they're doing at first. And this guy is like evil, and you think he's evil, and he's got these red eyes, and they're really horrible. And he is basically evil in throughout most of the film. There's a twist at the end, so if you don't want the twist revealed at the end, don't watch till the end of this spoiler. But yeah, so that is very interesting, and I love the storyline because I love the fact that, again, it was a strong female character, very young. She's only 13, Ainbo is, but she's very strong, very ambitious, very determined to succeed, very adventurous. She's like, I can do this, and just because she's female doesn't let that stop her. I really do love the animation coming out lately on some of these kids movies. I say, obviously adults can watch them as well, where they're really powerful, strong, young female characters. I think that we've improved a lot in the years with getting away from gender stereotypes as far as young women are concerned. I think this is a really good thing that cinema's doing. I get fed up when I see like really weak girl characters like, oh, save me, and it's like, no, that shouldn't be the case anymore. It teaches girls that they cannot look after themselves, that they need a guy or someone to save them. It teaches them that they're weak and useless, and they can't do things for themselves. And I hate that. I think we should be getting away from that. So I'm really glad that these days in the cinema they're bringing a lot more stronger female characters out, younger female characters out, warrior type girls out. I think this is a lot more healthier, and it's a lot more functional for women in society to grow up knowing that these characters are great. They're warrior, they're strong, they've got bows and arrows, they go through the jungle, and they have danger come at them. They have to be able to survive and thrive on their own, and even though they got the tapir and they got the armadillo helping her as a spirit guide, there were some things that they purposely could not tell her that she had to discover for herself. And I thought that was a very good theme of the movie as well, is that you can't have everything given to you. You can't have everything told to you. You have to just learn some things for yourself. And I think this is so true. I'm sure you've had it in your life where you spoke to friends or family members or even loved ones, and you've explained something to them, but they just don't take it on board themselves. They have to learn it for themselves, even though you might have already told them, and then weeks or months later they might say, oh, blah blah blah, and you're thinking, well, that's what I told you months or weeks ago. You can't say that to them, because you had to let them understand it for themselves, discover it for themselves, and know it for themselves. So sometimes people on their journey are on their journey like further back than you would be, and you might have already told them and kind of shown them the light, but they don't see that for themselves because they're not in that headspace. So sometimes with your friendships, relationships, family members, you just have to hold back sometimes and allow them to think and breathe for themselves and realize certain things for themselves. Like even myself, like sometimes I find and discover things, but my brain doesn't actually register them until later. And it's like a year later. It's like, oh, I'm sure I've learned that before, but why didn't I retain that? So we can only retain it when we're in a really receptive kind of vibration, and willing to accept that for ourselves. So in this movie, Ainbo has to discover some things for herself. There's a strong theme of the movie that even though she's got spirit guides, she can't be shown everything, because something she just has to work out for herself. And again, this is a very good thing for small children to understand, that they need to discover things for themselves, that they can't rely on their parents all the time, or their peers, or their teachers, or family members. They must discover some things for themselves. And yes, it might be a bit scary, but it's essential. So I do think these are some really good themes in this Ainbo movie. I really loved the scenery as well. There's some beautiful scenery where they've got the turtle, who's like the mother spirit, if you like, of the Amazon jungle. And Ainbo has to go up these mountains to get to the turtle, to get more wisdom on which way she should go, to kind of like solve the problem of this evil guy who's trying to dig up the Amazon forest, in order for gold, basically, and gonna like bulldozers in there and all sorts of stuff going on. So there's some really hilarious scenes, but the scenes where that you're going towards a turtle, I mean, my goodness, they're so beautiful. They're like big fluorescent lilies, like pink lilies, and all these beautiful like waterfall scenes as you go under the, you know, you're kind of going in this underwater you know, they're not underwater, but it looks like an underwater scene. It's so beautiful. Like, it looks like lilies and corals, and just the colors in this movie are wonderful. They were really breathtaking. And there was something really good that I just was gripped by the storyline. I wouldn't say that it's most action-packed film I've ever seen in animation, but I would say it's got a really gripping storyline, a really convincing main character. It was just very lovely scenery and very beautiful story. I love the fact that the girl did have two spirit guides, because it brings in spirituality to a very young age, and that's very advanced thinking, I think. Very advanced thinking, I think, you know. So there was some lovely stuff in this movie. I happened to pay more for it. I went to the Odeon Cinema. Here's my ticket, right, when I went to see Ainbo. So I went to the see it, but in the View Cinema, when you go to see a kids movie, it's £2.49, whereas this one was like £4.25, which I thought was really expensive as a kids club movie. And they're like, oh, but people have paid £6 to see it on the big screen. Anyway, I watched it and I was not disappointed. I really loved the movie. I thought it was well worth the price. Even I could imagine people who've paid £6 would be really happy to see it. That's like full price in the UK in the daytime a lot of the time, kind of the online price. But yeah, it's really, really amazing film. And so anyway, she's got these spirit guides, and she finds this guy is really, really evil, and he's trying to take over the jungle. But the trouble is, he's got these red eyes, and he can literally, you know, like take over your eyes and put you in a trance. So, you know, she luckily had her spirit guides come along and like, what you doing? Get out that guy's eye line, right? But what you find later on is that her best friend has come to look for her, and Zumi has come to look for her, but this evil guy says he's basically meets with Zumi and says, oh, you know, I can save your dad, right? I think he says he's a lobotomist or something, and he creates medicines, and I know your dad's ill, to Zumi, so, you know, I can give medicines to him, he'll get better. And she's like, yeah, but sure, what do you want? And he's like, oh, I just want to be able to have a bit of gold, you know, if you can show me where the gold is. And she's like, yeah, sure. So she doesn't realize how evil he is. And then that's how he makes his way into the Amazon jungle family, the Ainbo's trying to save, right? So Zumi's her best friend, but Zumi's taken this guy on. And when Ainbo goes back and finds Zumi and warns Zumi that this guy isn't who he says he is, he says he's a lobotomist, he says he is like can do medicines and stuff like this. But, you know, he's like a doctor of medicine as well. But, you know, he can't actually, you know, he's not a good guy. He's an evil guy. And Zumi doesn't want anything to do with Ainbo. She thinks she's talking completely rubbish. And so Ainbo, like, has to find that out for herself even more. Like, she comes across him again. And, you know, and finally this guard who thought Ainbo had killed Zumi's mum and kind of Ainbo's foster mum, if you like, the guard realizes that this guy is evil because he finds him out. And so he's really sorry to Ainbo and says, how can you ever forgive me? And then they work together to try and get rid of this evil guy. And something I haven't told you is like Ainbo's real mum is dead, and she's part of the spirit world, but Ainbo had this tree, and it's a tree of life, and it's where her mother's spirit is. And so towards the end of the movie, she gets to join her up with her mum again, but her mum is a spirit, and her mum reveals a plot twist. This is very important. I did not see this coming, right? So if you don't want to have the spoiler of how the movie ends, then don't watch the rest of this. But it was a really ingenious plot twist that I never expected. So what happens is Ainbo, you know, I said there's this evil guy and he's trying to take over that Ainbo's basically forest, you know, Amazon forest family, if you like, and Amazon jungle family. And so he changes into a snake and stuff like this. But what happens is Ainbo's real mother spirit comes out of the tree, and she tells the secret that no one knew. And this guy who's a snake, who's got evil in him, what happened is the guard was in love with Ainbo's mother, and Ainbo's mother loved another, which was like this lobotomist guy. But what happened is because this guard got so jealous, somehow Ainbo's mum, when she was alive, could not be with this lobotomist because it was like forbidden love, because he's like British as far as I can make out, got white skin and everything, you know, not from her people. And they fell in love, and the guard was very jealous, and somehow he killed the mother. I don't know how he killed the mother, how it exactly happened, but it was to do with the fact he was so jealous. And so anyway, so this guy who loved Ainbo's mother when she was alive, he turned to have evil in him because the one he loved was kind of ripped from him, and instead of being a good guy, he just turned out to be really evil. He let evil overtake him. He was consumed with like darkness. And so this guy used to be the love of Ainbo's mother's life, and so Ainbo has to kill the snake evil within him in order for her own real father to come back to life as a lobotomist. But of course he's dead when she kills the snake. He's then a spirit that goes and lives with her mother as a spirit. So they're both dead in the spirit world, if you like. So it's kind of like a really deep film. It was a little bit sad that Ainbo's mother leaves again, but she's got the love of her life in the spirit world again. And the foresters say the Amazon, you know, jungle, forest, whatever you want to call it, is saved. And, you know, it's a beautiful, happy ending in that respect. And so, you know, and Zumi apologizes to Ainbo, and they become best friends again, like they've always been. Well, they've always been, you know, but they rekindle their friendship deep like it was. So it's a very moving film, very beautiful storyline, very well written. Loved the characters, loved the plot, loved the plot twist, loved the tapir, and the armadillo, her animal spirits, Ainbo's animal spirits. They're just so funny and hilarious. You know, I'd highly recommend you watch this film. It was just a very peaceful, tranquil, amazing film, and I really appreciated it, you know, and I felt really kind of a little bit sad that she's not going to be with her mum and dad, you know, but she needs to be living, and they can't be, obviously. So, but I just thought the film was so beautiful, beautifully written, beautifully done. It was kind of a nice pace. I love the tapir, like I said, and the armadillo. There's such funny scenes. There's one scene where they're trying to push this like sugar tree up to give to this sloth as a bribe for getting a crystal sword or knife, I think it is. And that was to actually set the spirit of the mother free in the tree that she's in. And so, you know, there's the armadillo and the tapir having to go up these like volcanic mountain to get to the sloth to bring this offering of a sugar tree. And one of the I think it's the tapir lets go of the cart that's been pushed, and it stops, and it just rolls back down the mountain, the volcanic mountain, and they end up in a heap kind of on top of each other. It's really, really funny. And what happens is a volcano starts erupting after the sloth has given them a crystal, and then made the crystal for Ainbo into like this knife, as it were. And so and they say, "Oh, can we borrow your fan?" And so Ainbo and the armadillo managed to be light enough to get off the actual volcanic erupted volcano when it all is erupting, and the tapir is very, very chubby, but somehow he manages to get in the trolley, like this trolley thing that they were carrying the sweet sugar tree on, and he manages to like quickly like fly through the air on this trolley off the volcanic mountain and managed to catch up with Ainbo and the tapir. And that scene was absolutely hilarious. I found it really, really funny. So yeah, I just really loved the movie. I thought it was so good. Go and see it. It's called Ainbo, Spirit of the. It's meant to be Spirit of the Amazon, but it's written like this, you know. Ainbo, Spirit of the. So you know, go and see it. I'd highly recommend it. It's a really good watch. No sex. No distasteful stuff whatsoever. Family love. And I like the fact that the older women as well, they've got like a bit of like, dare I say, fat on them. You know, like they've got some like actual meat on them around their hips and stuff. So, you know, they've got like real women's bodies, I would say, not like you know, like the skinny people that everyone gets made out that people look like forever and a day, if you know what I mean. So I thought that was very good, you know. The young girls have still got really skinny kind of physiques, if you know what I mean. But yes, so I thought it was all around good film. Definitely go and watch it, and I'd highly recommend it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now or post a new video. And I'll see you on the next video live stream. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye.